Got it.
There's Mahoney.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, there's Jeff too, I think.
There's Mahoney.
Yep. There's Jeff.
There's Jeff.
Jeff with a J.
You're welcome.
Did Jeff get in there?
Mahoney.
Not
Yes.
yet.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Oh, look at that.
Sorry, my dog wanted in on this discussion.
Rightly so.
You have
All
an
right, well-
Irish setter?
Did you see the movie?
He did.
Ah,
Was it artful? All right, so tonight we're discussing this movie, The Banshees of Inisherin. Inisherin?
INISHERIN.
Inisherin. And I'm going to start the discussion by reading parts of a review by Charlotte Sullivan in the Evening Standard. And it's really pretty much an overview of the movie, but she does throw out some things too that she saw in the movie that some of them are fairly interesting. So it goes like this. It's 1923, and Patrick Sullivan is a donkey-loving farmer living on a remote isle off the west coast of Ireland. Patrick suspects he's the second biggest idiot in the village. He may be flattering himself. He's also viciously astute when drunk and prone of acts of lunacy, and Farrell ensures every aspect of this protean Egypt rings true. Patrick is horrified when fiddle player Colm says their friendship is over. Colm adores Mozart and wants to concentrate on composing music that will last the test of time. He's got no room in his life for a pal who's too nice. Patrick fails to take the hint. An increasingly desperate Colm threatens to cut off the fingers on his fiddle-playing hand unless Patrick backs off. But Patrick is nothing if not stubborn. Ignoring the advice of his sister, Seboyan, and young layabout Dominic, Patrick hits on a cunning plan. If Colm thinks Patrick is too nice, maybe the solution is for Patrick to get meaner. There are numerous twists in this bleak and bloody tale, and every single one of them throws us for a loop, but once key facts are revealed, makes total sense. She goes on to say that the director McDonough was born and raised in London and is daring his critics to find a suitable label for his film. The last paragraph that she writes in this is, she says, Dominic, Patrick, and Colm are tragic figures, and you need to enjoy crying, I mean really sobbing, to get a kick out of the Banshees of Inisherin. Really, it deserves to win BAFTAs and Oscars, but will do just fine without them. This funny, sad story will inspire awe for centuries to come. I reckon McDonough's a modern-day Mozart. We'll never know if I'm right, but I bloody well am. So I thought that was a pretty good recap of the show, but I only have a couple other comments here before I throw it out for questions. We wanted to give a translation on the title. Banshee, this definition of a banshee says that it is said to be a fairy in Irish legend, and her scream is believed to be an omen of death. The scream is also called Caoineáin, which means keening, and is a warning that there will be imminent death in the family. And as Irish families blended over time, it is said that each family has had its own banshee. And Inisherin is translate to Irish island. So I've been thinking of it like the siren of the Irish island. Two observations that I wrote down. the men in this movie, they're shown as simple and boring. You know, it's apparent that they are. And watching it for the second time, the first time I watched it, I was laid up in the hospital with my accident. But it all changes when the donkey dies. I was looking for when his personality went dark, and it was after the donkey died. So I'm going to throw out questions to you guys. I'm really anxious to hear what your take is on the meaning of the movie, and also like to hear some thoughts on the most important scenes in the movie. So with that, I'll just throw it out there to y'all.
Anything with the priest.
What's the most meaningful scenes?
I thought he had the best lines.
What were
I
they?
liked how he came storming out of the confessional, yelling the F-bomb, and then pointing the other guy, goes, "All right, you're next. Come on in."
Yeah. It's like listening to a dentist with an open door or something, and the guy's screaming. He goes, "You're next." So I didn't realize this was a 1923. Is that right?
That's what this said. I'd written down what year was it because until I saw that in the article, because I was like going, you know what, there really could have been any time
I
almost.
thought it was like yesterday.
No,
Yeah.
Calendar
1920
page. 1923 is important, and there's a shot in the early part of the movie where they turn from March of 23 to April of 23. And here's why this is important. There's at least a couple of references to the Irish Civil War that is going on. The Irish Civil War went on between 1922 and about May of 1923. There were two wars that went on in Ireland at that time. One was a straight rebellion against the English, and that resulted in this second Civil War. The second Civil War was about whether or not Ireland would be a sovereign nation in and of itself, like it is today, or would it be a dominion like Canada is relative to United Kingdom. What they did is they elected to go to something called the Irish Free State, which allowed the 6 counties in the north to stay with part of the United Kingdom, and then this Free State to be a dominion. Now, I'm telling you all of this just to make this one point. Here's how it relates to the movie. The Irish Civil War has meaning in Ireland today and throughout most of the 20th century because it was exceptionally brutal. It was like civil wars are, brothers versus brothers, families versus families, and some of the hard feelings from that extend to this day. And so the breakdown of this friendship is a metaphor, at least on one level, for the Civil War that was taking place and was ending sort of inconclusively later that year. And the hard feelings that Colum and Patrick have to one another are the same sorts of hard feelings that existed for the rest of the 20th century in Ireland because of the Civil War. Now, in 1948, there was a change in the Irish government, and they actually became a Republic of Ireland, and that's what they are now. But if you look at a map of, say, 1940 of Europe, it'll show that the 6 counties in Northern Ireland are regarded as part of the United Kingdom, and then there's a nation called the Irish Free State, and they had dominion status like Canada does relative to the UK. And so
not at all religious.
It was no. That's really another story. The Civil War inside of the Republic of Ireland was had more to do about what kind of government the Republic of Ireland would be, as opposed to the sectarian troubles in the north that had a big religious component to it, but fundamentally that was also economic, more that in my mind more economic. But anyway, the point of I'm trying to make here is this is supposed to be representative on one level, on a very personal level, to the hard feelings that existed in Ireland for the rest of the 20th century and to some degree into the 21st century. So that's why they make this note about it being 1923 and towards the end of the Irish Civil War that got resolved, that got stopped, is a better word, in the late spring of 23. So
Man, that requires a lot more of the viewer than I think any of us knew.
Well,
that history.
you know, I think Pete knows some of this for sure, and it's just a couple of Irishmen giving you some background on it.
Mike, the when the cop Pater is in the bar with Colum,
And he talks about
and he talks about he's going to go, kind of getting a little extra off-duty cop work, and he talked about Free State versus the IRA. So the Free Staters, were they happy just to have the Irish Republic and a part of Great Britain on the same island, whereas the NRA, they wanted the whole thing to be Irish and not connected to England at all? Is that the distinction between the Free Staters and the IRA? Because he talks about those two. Are those the two sides of the Civil War? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I didn't know it was 23. I mean, the Irish independence was 1919, right? That was when the
and then,
Declaration of Independence came out in Ireland.
Right, and then the Civil War happened almost immediately after that, as to whether or not it was going to be a republic or it was going to have any sort of connection at all to the United Kingdom.
Okay.
So, all right. So having said that, at the end of the movie, Patrick says something to the effect of, well, you know, some things are never going to die. And that's after he has hardened his attitude towards Cullum, and you know, he comes to that conclusion based on their friendship. But that was also happening throughout the Ireland at that time, because people were going to hold grudges through generations because of the Irish Civil War. Anyway, just background on it.
I have a question related to that. And so these guys are sort of a miniature version of what else was going on in the political world. Is the rift that developed between them in any way related, or can you relate it to what was happening between the different parties who were at war?
No, I don't anyway. I just think that what happened to them and was reflective of what was happening in the Irish society at the time. I don't think either one of these guys took a partisan view one way or the other. I didn't sense any sort of political background on this, other than the fact that the hard feelings that got generated by it also manifested themselves in a different way in these two guys, and the grudges remained.
I just watched this for the second time today. I watched it about a month or so ago, and I watched it again today. And I liked it better today than the first time I watched it, or I developed more of an appreciation for it. But one of the things my wife brought up was Colum, was he born and raised on that island, and he moved there from somewhere else? And the reason she raised that, and my response was all those people were there from birth. But just the for him to develop this attitude that, okay, I can't be bothered. I got X amount of years left on the planet. I can't be bothered talking to dimwits. I only have so much bandwidth, you know, and I need to spend it wisely, composing music, whatever. I just felt that was, in one way, that was an awful sophisticated attitude for a bunch of hillbillies in early 1900s on an Irish island. But then again, you had you've had brilliance in the centuries long before the 1900s that, you know, they talks about the composers. And so I guess maybe that's a legitimate attitude. Maybe Mozart couldn't be bothered hanging around with simpletons either, or Beethoven. You know, his art was everything to him. But that was one thought I had. The other question my wife raised, which I told I would throw out to the group, at the end when Dominic is found floating, was that suicide? Was it an accident? Was it murder? What was it?
I think it was suicide.
I read a review and that even the reviewer wasn't sure. So I'm not sure.
His dad clearly was surprised when he came up on the scene, when Mrs. McCormick or whatever, when she summoned him to come look, right when he was getting ready to arrest Colin Farrell. A look on his face suggested he was taken aback. Because, you know, in earlier scenes, you wouldn't have I don't think the cop would have hesitated to, well, he popped him a few good ones throughout the movie there. But you think it was suicide or an accident?
I thought
Maybe he was drunk on
suicide.
cocaine and slipped.
Just based on what you said about the policeman being surprised, his dad, I'm going to say suicide. You know
I
what?
thought it was murder because I thought that old woman knew it had happened, and I think it indicated that father-son conflict had led to something. That the dad was surprised. He was just playing.
Oh,
I think.
And to talk about the woman for a second, she functions as the banshee.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now,
Exactly.
okay, so like this definition that I read just a while ago, it said she screams before a death. And did anybody see her scream before the death of even the donkey? I mean, because like I'm saying, his personality changed when the donkey died. Did her role in the movie? Did she fill that? Did she check that box? Did she scream sometime before somebody died?
No,
I didn't hear her scream, but she predicted, almost like a prophet. She predicted 2 deaths, right? And
I thought of her as an oracle.
Yeah.
exactly.
yeah.
I've got a question. What's the significance of removing his fingers? He's a fiddle player, and you would think he would take the fingers off of his bow hand. But he took them off of his fiddle playing hand. And I couldn't put anything to that.
You know, he wanted to be remembered for something, hopefully for music, but in actuality, he's probably going to be remembered, at least in that village, as the guy who cut all his fingers off.
That's true.
And choked the donkey.
Probably known for generations or remembered. You know.
It proved he was serious about it, Mike. It proved he wasn't messing around.
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta say, those were some serious scissors too. I see some scissors.
I mean, I think it was like foreshadowing, you know, when he met with Shobin, and he says, your brother, he's just a fool, and she goes, you're all fools, you know. And he cuts off his fingers, and he's trying to create Mozart like music with no fingers. I mean, how stupid can you be? You know, he was just as big a fool as Patrick.
But then
Well,
and Dominic.
That's why he lived on through the years as Colin Doherty, the fingerless fiddler. So.
Fingerless fiddler.
At
He was
the
holding
club, he was
Fiddle up, swinging it around, and
right. He's
yeah.
swinging it at the beat and all that
Yeah.
blood's going everywhere. So I thought, well, maybe that's part of the bloody Civil War or something.
Yeah, where were the bandages? You don't have any bandages in that village?
I'm sure
Anyway.
the students that were watching him shake that rug out, this fucking guy's nuts. We gotta get back to Dublin.
I know earlier I read that there was a lot to the animals. I know it was a big part of the show, And I've even read a little bit about how much the actors liked doing the movie with the animals around and all that. The donkey, I think, was particular favorite. Um, what did you think of the role of the animals in the movie? Anything particular? I mean, like I said,
I thought it was interesting how Patrick took the dog when he was burning down the house. You're not guilty. I'll take care of you. And then when Colm proved to have left the house, he looked like he was just going to sit in there and burn up. But he obviously at some point said, I'm leaving. This house is burning down. And then he thanked Patrick for taking care of his dog while the house was burning. Just weird stuff. The interactions they had were sort of non sequiturs a lot of times.
Yeah, like earlier in the movie, a similar scene after the cop kicks the daylights out of Podrick. Then Colm comes over. He watches this beating take place, and he gets him up, dusts him off, sticks him on the cart, and then Colm gets into the cart and drives him back to the point where their roads divide, and he goes off back to his house, and Patrick goes home to literally nurse his wounds. But I mean, for a second there, you think that maybe there's going to be some sort of rapprochement, and maybe it's taken another turn, but it didn't happen. And I am like Pete. This is the second time I've seen this in about a month, and I liked it better this time than I did the first time. I found the funny parts, the dark humor in the first half of it, laugh out loud at a couple of places, like the priest telling Colin to fuck himself, and then calling in the next confessor.
It's feck.
Yeah, they said feck a lot. So you think this will win any Oscars?
I hope not.
Well, I don't know.
That's your take, huh?
Why do you say that, Terry?
What would there be to give an award about?
I think Colin Farrell and Carrie Connor, or whatever her name is, both had really vivid characters.
Oh yeah, Carrie Condon.
Yeah. And so they and Brendan Gleeson and Carrie Condon, they're running against each other for Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
But I thought they were all real good. I mean, I'm kind of haven't seen all of the Best Pictures, and I think all the ones that have Best Actor and Supporting Actor. I mean, I'm all for this to win it. I think it'll be this or Tar.
Isn't Dominic up?
Cinematography? Beautiful scenery.
I don't think it got nominated for cinematography, did it?
I don't know.
What? What's that?
I don't think Banshees got nominated for cinematography, did it? It was beautiful, but
yeah, I mean, all the reviews I saw on it mentioned the cinematography. Bill, does it say?
I haven't found it yet. No, it's not up.
Mahoney, what was that word you used a while back? Repromage or something like that?
Rapprochement.
What does that mean?
It's a French word that's used a little bit in the English to say that a couple of parties that are in dispute get back together.
Best film editing. One of my favorite categories.
So I have a question for you Irish guys. Where did they get the wood? I didn't see a tree in the whole movie. Where's the wood come from?
A lot of the times, especially in the country, excuse me, in the countryside of Ireland, they're not burning wood; they're burning peat, which is a sort of coal-like product that they get out of the ground.
And that looked
Yeah,
like
but that's not
driftwood.
what he put up against the house.
Oh,
to
yeah.
catch the house on fire.
That
Well-
looked like driftwood to me. That looked like
Yeah,
it came up off
driftwood.
the
That's what I
beach
was
and he
thinking. It must be
scattered it up. Yeah.
picking up off the shore.
Oh, I think a lot of it is just woody brush that's grown up over the years. They
Oh.
collect it and use it for different things. I don't think it's trees.
Well, I've seen probably pretty much every movie Farrell's been in. I thought it was a phenomenal job by him personally. You know, Mike, you talked about the scene where Brendan Gleeson picks him up off the ground after the cop punches him, and you know, when he starts weeping because he thinks, okay, we're going to make peace here. You know, I mean, I thought that was a really moving scene, and then Gleeson jumps out of the cart and they go their separate ways again. I thought he did a very nice job in this movie, personally.
He actually put the reins in his hand. I thought that was
Yeah,
interesting too.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're in control here, not me.
Does perhaps Bill does know anything about the director who's also the writer?
Well, he did. What's the one, Pete? The one we watched a while ago.
3 billboards in Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah, but
Okay.
the one from quite a while ago.
Well, he did another movie. He didn't do the movie that those two were in Bruges. Did
Yeah,
he
in
do that
Bruges.
movie? Which,
Yeah,
by the
that's-
way, if you guys haven't seen that,
That's
that's
me.
a wonderful movie.
What are they hitmen in that?
Pardon me?
In Bruges, are they hitmen?
They're hitmen that are laying low in Bruges, and good flick if you haven't seen it.
Boy, what different characters though to these characters.
Oh yeah. There's no
could-
fingers cut off in that movie.
Yeah,
How could you weigh 250 pounds if you had to walk everywhere all over that island?
So he's got to beat Colin Farrell's got to beat Austin Butler out in Elvis, Brendan Fraser in The Whale, Paul Mescal in After Sun, and Bill Nighy in Living. I haven't seen The Whale, After Sun, or Living, but I thought his role. I thought he was pretty good. That's who I'm pulling for.
And I think it's up for best original screenplay also. Because that is a great story. Whoever came up with that. That's not adapted from any book or anything, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up.
Oh, it is.
Best original screenplay.
Yeah.
So, best director, it's up for. So at least 5 things. It'll do pretty well. I mean, I remember when I think Pete, he came in, he's first one to kind of say, well, I saw this movie and I don't know if I can recommend it or not, you know.
Well,
And-
yeah, it's and I quoted a guy Mike and I both know, Mike Casey. He said it's the best movie I will never recommend to anybody.
Right. And that was about what I was hearing, like, from other people too. And I haven't watched it a second time and everything, and watching all the other movies that are up for Academy Award. I really liked it the second time too. I was sitting there going, this is a really much better film than I would give it credit for the first time. You know, the first time you're just shocked, I think,
Yeah.
by all the stuff. The second time you start seeing how well crafted it is. So
There you go,
The,
Terry. You just have to watch it again.
I'm like you. I watched it about 6 weeks ago and then again yesterday. And the fingers were so impressive the first time I saw it. But this time I was prepared, and I guess the whole course of the movie was more interesting than just the finger. That was just such a result of things. But the first time I saw it, it was like the thing.
Yeah, once you get past the shock of the finger, then you can kind of focus on the dynamics between
Yeah.
those two.
Yeah.
You know, and by God, he was a prick. Brendan Gleeson knows how to play a prick. You know.
I might actually watch it again someday. but it falls into the same category as Fargo and Pulp Fiction, which are totally like, what the fuck, the first time you see it. And then somebody tells you that with Fargo, it was like, I was looking in the paper, and Fargo's up for best comedy. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I went and watched it again, and I laughed my ass off the whole time. And watching Pulp Fiction the second or third time, I'm with people who are watching it for the first time, and they're looking at us laughing like we're completely out of our minds for laughing. So I might give it a chance if somebody will send me $5.
I'll Venmo you.
Did you watch it all the way through, Terry? Or
Yeah, I did. Had to see what was going to happen.
Fast
I really
forward.
liked the donkey, the sister, and Dominic. They were the three shining lights of a hint of sanity among the whole crowd. And it's like, did they really let policemen just beat people up like that? With, you know, and like that's what they get. They can do that,
It's a different
or
time.
burn a house without being immediately thrown in prison for the rest of your life. It was like, I just didn't understand. I was kind of thinking that maybe the Civil War was gonna.
Have you been paying attention in America for the last 25 years?
Well, they just convicted some cops for murdering people. Okay. Yeah,
I like the shopkeeper / postal mistress.
opening someone's mail.
Yeah.
Don't get any news from your side of the aisle.
Yeah, and needing gossip from different places.
I like the dynamic between the brother and sister. I thought that was a nice thing that was going on there. He's losing his friend and he's losing his sister. So it compounded his problem.
And a donkey.
And then he lost his donkey. Yeah.
How much can a man take?
I don't know.
By the way, if you guys want to see a really interesting movie that also has Colin Farrell and Barry, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, Kogan, the guy that plays Dominic, there's a movie called The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is a really bizarre movie. Colin Farrell plays a doctor. I'm not going to tell you a lot about it, but this Barry, did you say he was up for a supporting actor?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Brendan
That is a
Gleeson.
really bizarre movie that I highly recommend.
What is it, Pete?
It's called The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I mean, Pete suggested it a while ago. I saw it back when you did that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to say that the sister is up for Best Supporting Actress.
Is she?
She is, I think.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she is.
She is.
She and Dominic and Brendan.
And did you know she was in Better Call Saul?
No, what did she play in that?
She played Mike,
Yeah. Oh,
His-
Mike's
his
daughter.
daughter.
his daughter. Yeah.
Oh, I'll be damned.
Daughter-in-law. Yeah.
Catch that.
Yeah. Watching it the second time too, Carrie, Dominic, his character, I liked it a lot better the second time around. I thought it's probably pretty hard to play a character that is that stupid. You know?
He had some great dialogue.
So I wouldn't be unhappy at all if he won Best Supporting Actor. You know, get a little new blood in there, but Academy Awards are all they're all pretty political anyway. So by the time we have our next meeting, the Academy Awards will be over.
True.
Yeah, that's next Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to see how many I can predict. I don't know if I'll have any luck, but I encourage you all to, just for fun, give it a try.
Okay, I will. What do you think is going to get Best Picture, Mike?
I don't know. I think it's probably going to be Fabelman's, just because because it's Spielberg.
Everything, everywhere, all at once, whatever that is.
Did you see it? Have you seen
No.
everything?
No.
That is probably, that's the best picture. I'm sorry, I thought, I don't know why I was thinking Fableman's for best director, maybe. But yeah, Everything Everywhere at All at Once was a mind bender that you hadn't seen before. And they've won a lot of
Flight
things.
on the Western Front, is pretty good.
Yeah, that's going to be in there.
Right? And this is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And Tar is pretty good.
I haven't seen
Yeah.
Tar.
But I'll tell you, Triangle of Sadness is not very good at all.
If the Fablemans wins director, that's just a crime.
Yeah. I thought
So-
I watched Triangle of Sadness between last week and this week, and I laughed at that a lot. I thought that was funny. I don't know if most people would, but
Did you?
it's also up for best director, best picture, and best original screenplay. To come up with that screenplay was pretty ingenious too. A couple goes on a cruise with uber rich people, and and the fun begins.
Woody Harrelson is the captain of the ship.
Right.
So anyway,
Well,
well,
I've been waiting for Jeff Arthur to pick that pint of Guinness up and take a drink out of it there. Look at that, man.
it looks about the right size.
And really, it fooled me there at first. I actually thought that he might have
I'm with you. I had to see where the table was, and
yeah, he's sitting right there with those two. They're just about the
Yeah.
same size.
Well, I like how you're turned to the side a little bit, Jeff, like you're actually sitting at the table there.
Yep.
That's a nice
Uh-huh.
touch. You can reach around and grab that pint. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So before we go on, I guess, but does everybody sort of agree that this was a reflection of events on the Irish island, or so what?
Well,
It
I
makes
think
sense. I didn't know the history, but it makes sense. Yeah.
that, and then it's just the story of loss as well on several different levels. Their friendship. Colum loses his house. Patrick loses his friend and his sister and his donkey. Dominic loses his life. I mean, there's just a lot of loss in the entire picture.
It reminded me of Mahoney when I were talking about this the other day, that the definition of Irish Alzheimer's, you forget everything except grudges.
Well, I see an intransigent stubbornness going
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, talk about hard-headed, stubborn. Like, wow.
That's what drove the whole plot, really.
Yeah.
And that and we're not the only ones, but that is a classic trait of the Irish. A streak of stubbornness that is virgin
Legendary.
unmovable.
it's next level.
And you think that's what McDonough saw too in writing and directing it?
Yeah,
I do.
Well, might be a relative in his family. You
Yeah.
know? I mean,
Yeah.
not to the extreme, but in terms of their personality traits.
I also wanted to mention that at one point, Patrick is almost kind of getting back with, or thinks he is, with his buddy. And he asked me about his tune. Did you work on your tune? And he says, yeah, I did. He's trying to talk about something he's interested in. And he said, what's it called? And he said, the Banshees of INISHERIN. So they worked it in there too.
and I believe I read that Gleason wrote that tune.
Oh, really?
And
Yeah.
performed it.
And performed it.
It's a credit. He has a credit for 2 songs.
I'll be damned. Well, I don't know. I think it's going to win something. I don't know what, but
I think it's strong.
Yeah, I hope Colin Farrell wins the best actor. He'd be a good one in there. All right.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yes,
Bill.
Thank you,
thanks.
guys. Thought it'd be a good one to review.
I think I'm up, right?
Yes, sir, Jeff.
All right. Well, I dove into the old bin and pulled out Inherit the Wind,
Oh,
Wow.
which is Spencer Tracy and Frederick March in a loosely disguised or thinly disguised version of the Scopes Monkey trial, where they are in this intense courtroom battle. And it's a sort of a classic. I think it was made in 1960. Stanley Kramer was the was the director. It was nominated for 4 Oscars and won 3, I believe. I don't know which ones at this point, but I had seen it long time ago, and for some reason I was thinking about Spencer Tracy, and I thought, that would be one of his strongest movies and probably interesting to watch.
and I think there's a famous television actor that also has a big role in it. And I think it's Dick York from Bewitched.
Yes, he is in it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. He's got a fairly decent sized role, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's been so long. I need to watch it again, but I knew that it was good enough to recommend to the club. So it's got it's got an interesting cast.
I'll look it up.
That was pre-Bewitched.
Yeah.
By a lot, right?
By a lot, yeah.
I don't want to use plastic, but I was kind of thinking.
I don't know, when was Bewitched on? We were not all that old when Bewitched was a show.
Mid
Yeah, but I
60s.
bet it was.
I'm looking at it. 64 to 69 was Bewitched.
And
Yeah.
Inherit the Wind was 60.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably got his Bewitched part because of his part in Inherit the
I
Wind.
mean, I think the little papers will hold up okay. I don't think.
Because nothing's funny if not a trial.
Exactly. A trial on evolution.
I started to watch a series called History 101. I don't know if anybody's seen that. The first episode I watched was about the evolution of the MP3 and how music went from vinyl to tapes in one form or another to CDs and then to MP3s, and the huge impact that's had on the music industry up and down over the course of time, and how they have bounced back from various setbacks. It was kind of a nice perspective on that whole process.
And what's it called again?
History 101.
And
I
it's
think
a
it's
series.
I think it's on Netflix. It's kind of a documentary type series.
Probably order them at the same time.
It looked like they had some other good things in there, but that's as far as I got with it. I started watching the what's it called? It's the movie about the Hawaiian hotel, the Lotus, the White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Yeah.
That's an interesting series. How many? Is there one season of that, or
There's
there more than
two.
one?
The
Okay.
the one that just ended was in Italy,
Good. Right.
I believe.
sounds right.
And the one before that was Hawaii, was it? Or I don't remember, but yeah. I enjoyed that, by the way. I thought that was
Yeah, I'm going to keep watching it.
I've been chasing some Academy Award stuff. I think I saw what's one with Brad Pitt?
Bullet Train?
Babylon.
No.
Babylon. Yeah.
It's
Oh,
3
Babylon,
hour a 3 hour movie that's up for not for Best Picture or anything like that. But it was good. It was long. I don't think in general I don't think people like it too much. I think it was too long, too bizarre. But I liked it. I didn't fall asleep. Everybody else in the room was falling asleep, but I didn't. And then
You're a trained movie watcher, Bill.
that's right.
No, it probably had more to do with the fact that he had a 2-hour nap that afternoon.
I had to
A
watch
friend of
that
mine-
in parts,
Go ahead.
an hour at a time. It was just too long. Go ahead, Jeff.
a friend of mine recommended a movie called Brian and Charles, which I don't know about exactly, but it's about a guy who invents a robot or something out of North Wales, and it's a streaming movie. So she's got a good sense of humor, that the person who recommended it. So I may check that out.
What's it called?
Brian and Charles.
I saw an ad for that somewhere, either Hulu or Netflix, I think, or.
I watched Navalny. The Navalny was a CNN movie last year, but now it's I guess it moved over to HBO after it had its run on CNN. CNN produced it, but it's about the Russian that ran against Putin, and it's about his return to Russia and being thrown back into jail, all that.
Is that the one that keeps getting poisoned?
Yeah.
He's the one that got poisoned, and actually, that's kind of a critical part of the movie, of what happens to him and what's going on, and really, it really doesn't have a lot to do with Ukraine or anything, but has a lot to do with Putin.
Yeah, I think the most astonishing thing, or one of the astonishing things about it, is that after this guy was allowed to go to Germany to get medical treatment to save his life from the poisoning, and they did save his life, he willingly went back to Russia to serve his prison sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Yeah, it's crazy. I saw that. What's it called? Love of Fire. You mentioned it a couple weeks ago. Tall Mike.
Fire of Love.
Fire of Love. Yeah. About
What do you think of
the
that one?
volcano chasers. It was good. It was
That's
good. I
gonna be
mean,
my pick for best documentary feature. I think it just had all the right elements.
have you seen Navalny?
No, I haven't. It's been on my list too. It's hard to see them all, isn't it?
Yeah.
I did see Women Talking.
Yeah, that comes up Wednesday, right? According to your
Supposed
email.
to. It's supposed to be available on Prime, but it's hard to trust those Prime guys.
We watched it. My wife and I watched that Friday night. Women Talking.
Is that
What
good?
you think, Pete?
I didn't care for it personally. I fell asleep during that one. That's not because I've been drinking.
I had an opportunity. I had an opportunity to watch it and went, yeah, I just don't think that's going to click with me.
Yeah.
It's kind of a Me Too movie, and I don't think this is the Me Too year at the Oscars. But we'll see. I watched a few other things you guys might like. I watched a thing called The Elephant Whisperers. It's a documentary short. I think it's on Netflix. It's only like 40 minutes long. It's got a couple in South India that take on an orphaned elephant and try to get it back into the wild. And I also watched The Boy. I'm trying to think of the name of this. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse, which is a animated. It's an animated short. It's nominated as an animated short. It's on Apple Plus TV, and it's like 32 minutes. But it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's a kid's film. It's based on a book by a guy named Charles Chesney or something like that. Best-selling book.
What's it called?
Boy. It's called The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. It's on
Sounds like Trump's cognitive test.
Camera.
Got it. I thought it was funny.
No, that's a good one.
I finally caught up with the movie Mike had recommended a couple years ago, The Cannibal Women of the Avocado Jungle.
That's a good one.
It is a good one. I had to fast forward through it because I was so embarrassed to be watching it.
And Empire of Light, that's one I watched. It's been nominated for Best Cinematography. It's It's on HBO Max, and
Is it good?
I thought it was one of those. Do you remember last year? I think Olivia Colman did a movie called The Young Girl, and she went and stayed somewhere and met this young girl and kind of was trying to get over losing her daughter or something like that. It was along those same lines, only it was she works at a movie theater. That's why it's called Empire of Light, and she kind of falls for a guy that works at the theater. The best movie in the world, no. Best cinematography in the world, no. I don't know how it got nominated for that, but it was on the list. And I like Olivia Colman, and she does a great job in it, really. But she's not nominated as best actress either. So that was their lone nomination.
You were saying, you know, the Me Too movement is kind of passe or whatever.
Well, it's not. It was last year's thing.
Yeah, but this movie Tar is kind of the anti Me Too. And if you haven't seen it, I guess I'll make that as my recommendation for a movie to watch because I think it could very well win Best Picture too. It's awfully good. Kate Blanchett is really good in that movie.
Is it streaming somewhere, Bill?
It is. I know we saw it. I haven't looked it up lately, but we saw it for not too much.
Okay.
Yeah, I started to watch it the other day. I don't remember where it was though. It is streaming somewhere.
Kate Blanchett always seems to find interesting work.
Yeah, yeah, she's a good actress. She's won an Academy Award, hadn't she? I think she. Okay. Anybody else? Still got a little time.
Gentlemen, I got dinner waiting. I think I'm going to buzz off here a minute or two early because
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for the Irish primer on the movie.
Yeah,
that really was helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in go to the Brookside Parade this weekend?
If it's not 45 and raining, yeah.
Oh, okay. How about you, Pete? You'll go if it's
I'll
45
probably be down
and
there. Yeah. Probably be down there.
Yeah. As will I. So
yeah.
I've got one more recommendation.
All right.
Daisy Jones and the Six. Has anybody seen this promoted yet?
I saw it promoted.
Saw an ad for it.
Prime Video has it. The first three episodes, it's 10 altogether. The first three you can watch right away, and then in another week or so they're going to drop another 3, and then they're going to drop 2 and 2. It's supposed to be. It's about a book, but it's kind of a thinly veiled story of Stevie Nicks and Leslie Buckingham. And I watched the first 3 episodes because I got hooked on the first one, and it was good. And when they brought in to the band a female keyboard player, I knew it was about all those guys because she's the Christine McVie person, and she had a British accent. But they're unknowns, but they sing and they play, and they are trying to get a band going in the 70s. That's the main storyline, and I think you guys would enjoy it.
Anybody seen Shrinking?
I have been. I've been watching it.
I've been watching it too. It's good. It's Harrison Ford is hilarious in there, but the interaction between the different characters I thought was pretty good too.
Yeah, it's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Anybody watch the Chris Rock special?
Yeah. Wow.
That was incredible. I thought. I don't know.
He just covered everything.
Right. But he does finally explain his side of the story of the slap at the Oscar.
Yeah.
And that's his kind of his last bit in his hour-long special, but it was pretty good.
I thought his comment about not wanting to make Yeah. He didn't want to make Jay-Z mad because he didn't want another rap guy mad at him.
Don't need another rapper after me.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett's won 2 Academy Awards, Best Actress and Supporting.
Wow.
What was Best Actress for?
Sorry, don't have that. I'm just looking at a list of awards.
Wasn't she in some movie regarding a boat?
A boat.
Was she in
Dustin.
Titanic? Was she in Titanic?
Kind of
Kate,
boat.
That's Kate Winslet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
That's why that joke fell flat. Sorry. Damn.
Bob Dylan.
Well, you don't hit high if you don't aim high.
She was Bob Dylan for a while there, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And she was great. She was great.
All right.
All right, gents.
All right. Well, that's good. Okay.
All
Good
right.
one, guys.
Phil, thank you.
See you in a week.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you,
See you
Bill.
guys.
All right.
Take care.
Good pick.
Bye.
Yeah.